I've been reading an article online on the iPaper about a black nurse. She's complaining that she has to go out to visit patients in their homes, and often or sometimes there's Union Jacks or St George crosses flying from lampposts, and she doesn't like going into them areas, and it feels unwelcoming to people like her. Well, first of all, what kind of person is she? I've had a look on her Facebook profile and it's all full of Black Lives Matter stuff. She's obviously a blacktivist. If she was a white nurse talking about white issues like that, especially from the sort of angle she comes from, she'd be sacked from the NHS anyway, and she wouldn't have to worry about visiting people's homes. But anyway, the way the article's worded is that I'm not going to go into too much detail in the article. It's the usual boring drivel that you get with most of these articles. But it's obviously politically motivated, and it's to try and make it seem that she's more important than the patients she visits, and that white people, specifically white British people, should have to bend over backwards for people from afar, or whose parents come from afar, or grandparents, or whoever. But when the shoe's on the other foot, when you look at it from a different perspective, say a patient who's had bad experiences with black people, they may be in hospital because they've been beaten up or raped or whatever by a black, and the NHS and the previous Tory government, I assume the current Labour government are the same, believe that they shouldn't be allowed to ask for a white doctor. Anyone asking for a white doctor should be refused, possibly even denied medical treatment on the grounds of it, life-saving medical treatment even.
Exposing the abhorrent racist abuse NHS staff get from patients has had an untold effect. Tens of thousands of people responded, 4 million have watched one doctor's moving story, and dozens of others have shared similar experiences. So obviously widespread, it's prompted the government to act. In an unprecedented move, the Health Secretary's written personally to all staff, telling them to take a zero-tolerance approach to racism.
I am saying with absolute clarity, if a patient asks for a white doctor, the answer is no.
So is what you're saying, if the patient continues to ask for a white doctor, they will be told that they won't be treated or they can be treated elsewhere?
Yes. If a patient refuses treatment for a reason that's completely unacceptable, like their racist attitudes, then the treatment won't be available on that basis.
It's complete double standards. Like, we're expected to, like, people shouldn't fly flags from their lampposts in case it offends people that don't consider themselves British. Would they expect the same thing in Jamaica? Would they expect the same thing in virtually anywhere in the world? They probably would in Australia, America, and other white countries, but in any non-white country, would they expect that? If I came back off a holiday somewhere and said, oh, I thought it was terrible, they flew their own flag everywhere, people were even putting it up themselves outside their houses on lampposts, and that I'd be laughed at for saying it. And also, as far as feeling intimidated, some people, probably everyone in their right mind, feels intimidated when they see a group of blacks hanging around, or a group of anyone, but specifically blacks, hanging around wearing hoodies. Several years back, 5 or 6 years ago, I think, I'm going to put a video up of it in a bit, David Lammy took part in a campaign with The Guardian for the way people see black people, because apparently if we see a large group of blacks, or just a black guy on his own, someone who's deliberately trying to cover their face by wearing a hoodie, then it's our fault. It's not their fault for looking intimidating or anything like that. It's our fault for seeing them that way.
It's unlikely, walking along the street dressed like this in Westminster, that I would be stopped. But were I to put some jogging pants on and a hoodie, my appearance would be very different. I would stand out in a particular way, and many people around me would associate my dress for things that make them worried, concerned, and might provoke suspicion. The overwhelming sense is one of threat, of criminality, of predatory behaviour, antisocial behaviour, and that's simply because of what you're wearing. You know, the vast majority of black fathers I meet, postmen, teachers, bankers, their stories are largely invisible. It's a very, very limited set of assumptions about who we are, what we can achieve.
If people are intimidated by flags, it's supposedly the fault of the people putting the flags up. If people are intimidated by people hanging around, deliberately trying to look intimidating, wearing hoodies, it's the fault of the people that feel intimidated. The way they campaign is that the white people are always in the wrong. They want white replacement, and it's complete and utter double standards. Please like and subscribe, comment, and if you've got any ideas for any other videos, please let me know and I'll try and get something done. Thank you.